Hello, I'm Kate Raworth, and I want to introduce you to the one donut that actually turns out to be good for us and good for cities that want to thrive in the 21st century. And so I offer you a donut. Think of it as a compass for human prosperity in the 21st century. And the goal here is to leave nobody falling short in the hole in the middle of the donut. But at the same time, don't overshoot its ecological ceiling, because there we put so much pressure on the life-supporting systems of this delicately balanced planet that we push her out of balance. We cause climate breakdown. We acidify the oceans. We create a hole in the ozone layer and critical loss of biodiversity and ecosystems. And these 9 planetary boundaries are what Earth system scientists believe hold this one habitable planet in the universe in such a benevolent state for humanity. So the aim is to meet the needs of all people within the means of the living planet. So what if we could take this global concept of the donut and bring it down to the scale that policymaking actually happens at the national level or the city level? And we invite every visionary 21st century city to ask itself this question: how can your city become a home to thriving people in a thriving place while respecting the well-being of all people and the health of the whole planet? And we can take that question and dive into its 4 lenses that make up the city portrait. We've downscaled the donut for 3 cities, Portland, Philadelphia, and Amsterdam, and run workshops with city staff and change makers looking at their city for the first time through the perspective of these 4 lenses of the portrait. And what's come clear in those workshops is that the city portrait helps to widen the possibilities of the city's future. But where we think that the city portrait really comes to life is turning it into a city selfie. Because we've taken publicly available targets and statistics, but what if the people of the city themselves decided to make it a portrait of who they are today, through the lens perhaps of food or of energy or of housing, starting by plotting onto the portrait all the initiatives and policies and strategies that are underway to bring that transformation about. Looking for the deep interconnections between the social and ecological, the local and global lenses that create the synergies that are needed. Bringing to bear the visions and the values that people in the city hold dear for what they think will be a thriving future for themselves. Bringing in voices, lived experience of city histories and stories from different communities, showing the diversity of experience and life in the city. And then highlighting initiatives that could be taken now that would bring new synergies and take the city from where it is to where it wants to get to. So that's an overview of the city portrait and its idea as a city selfie. We believe there are at least 9 ways of turning it into transformative actions. Let's call them the 9 M's. Start by using the portrait as a mirror, reflecting the current status of your city and its impacts worldwide. Turn it into a mission. Create a compelling vision of what thriving means to your city and what it can become. Use the portrait to mobilize city change makers and stakeholders who are ready to drive that transformation. Onto the portrait, map the existing policies and initiatives that are already taking your city in the direction it wants to go. Let it inspire a holistic mindset backed up by the values and ways of working that are needed to turn this into reality. Connect it with other methods that you're already using to bring about change. Use it to build momentum through an iterative process of action and reflection. Monitor how and where the city is making progress or not into getting into the donut. And lastly, make it irresistible. Be creative, have fun, share learning, and share success. So this is an overview of how we've downscaled the donut and turned it into a city portrait. We hope that it inspires your city on its own journey to becoming a 21st century thriving city.